Hey guys, I hope you're all having an awesome night. So something came about tonight when I was thinking about something and I got guided to do a video on this. So if you've been watching me for a while, I don't just do tarot readings and psychic readings. I also try to talk about my own journey and talk about mental health and different things that really help people. So one of the things that came up for me today is me always wanting to make sure I do the right thing, and it's like, well, I have this like fear, this subconscious fear, like if I do the wrong thing in some way, that like something bad's going to happen. I'm going to fail a lesson. I'm going to have to, pay for it. Right. And so if you've had a upbringing that was toxic or chaotic, and even one that didn't appear to be toxic or chaotic, but where your feelings were invalidated or you weren't heard or seen as a child, or, you grew up in like an abusive home or with a parent who was an alcoholic or had, a drug issue or things like that. This also applies for people who didn't have, excuse me, those situations, and they also had emotionally abusive relationships. So if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody who is a narcissist or somebody who's an emotional abuser, this could apply to you too. So really, Spirit wanted me to talk about some of the behaviors and patterns that you may have that have to do with this specifically. And so they want you to be aware of it so you can bring it to your consciousness and start working on it and start healing it. Okay. And a lot of us go through it, myself included. So if you actually have been following me and I have a psychology degree, I've been doing social work for close to 10 years now. So, I definitely have a lot of knowledge on this. And I still also struggle with this too. So you're not alone. Even, us people who are in the field, we still have these same issues, right? So one of the things that I've noticed with myself specifically, like I said, about always feeling like I'm doing something wrong, but I always feel like I have to ask permission or validation. And that was something I realized a few months ago and I stopped doing it, is like feeling like I'm going to be in trouble or scared, or like I can't make a decision on my own unless I ask my friends or check with them, or questioning like, what is a normal behavior? Like validating your feelings. Like what is a normal behavior? What is it like in relationships? Like, is this normal or is this toxic? And really not knowing. People who are unable to make choices on their own, feeling scared to make choices on their own, like indecisiveness. What was the other one they were talking about? There's a bunch of different behaviors. I'm trying to think. Scared of doing anything without asking somebody ahead of time is like a huge one. Feeling like you can't say what you want or stand up for yourself or do what you want and stand up for yourself. So if you're upset about something, it's almost like invalidating your feelings and being like, well, this person went through this, or this is going on with this person, and always justifying other people's behaviors while ignoring your own, especially, right? It's like, well, this person did this, but I understand it because they did this. Yeah, and it's okay to understand stuff. Like, I'm a very understanding person, but it's not okay to accept it. It's also not okay to sit and not discuss your own needs and your own feelings. So it's really about making sure that you're aware of how you're handling things. Are you doing what's best for you? And so for people who have struggled with this, who have struggled with being manipulated, and this comes, from me too, is I'm always questioning, like, what is somebody's intention? And I don't have paranoia in the sense like, oh my gosh, this person walking down the street is going to attack me. Not like that. But I have this sense where I'm always kind of questioning, what is this person's intention? Is it pure? Is this something that they really genuinely want or mean, or are they just like playing games to get what they want? And so I've dealt with a lot of people like that, friends, relationships. And so, definitely struggle in that area, but I try to use my intuition and I try to ask myself, does this feel okay? Does this person feel okay? Is there any intuition that I'm having that's kind of pushing me away from this person or this situation and things like that? So regular check-ins with yourself are super important. What do I feel like? Is this something I want to do? Is this something that I feel like I should do because somebody's going to be mad at me? Am I addressing my feelings, my needs, my wants, my emotions? If I'm not, why am I not? These are things to ask yourself. And a lot of us do struggle with these things where we're just kind of like, we're trying to figure out what is normal. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I've struggled with probably is this normal? Is what this person's saying normal? Is, like I'm actually pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. So, I have a crystal store, and obviously I run this page too. And so, I'll have people who will try adding me as like friends. And I'm like, I'll ask my friend, I'm like, what do you think this person's intention is? She's like, sometimes people just want to be your friend. Sometimes people just want to talk to you. And I'm just like, you don't think they're trying to use me? You don't think they have this intention? And she's like, no. So like, I personally struggle with that because people do have false intentions. And I've had to kind of step back and really just be like, okay, let me step into my power. Let me step into my intuition. Do I actually want to accept this person and be their friend, or do I not? And rather than what is their intention and motive. And so if it's somebody that I would like to be friends with, or somebody I did have a connection with, or things like that, then, making that step. But I definitely have a lot of fears with stuff like that. And I have anxiety with stuff like that because of my childhood, because of relationships I've been in. And so, and that's not to blame other people. Obviously, I'm accountable for myself, but that is really where the root stems from. Sometimes it's kind of important to know where it stems from. And so you can be patient with yourself too, and understanding with yourself when these issues come up, and not be mad at yourself. And, it's cycles. Like, it takes time to heal them. It takes time to change them. But the most important thing is being aware of your behaviors, being aware of your patterns, so you can actually change it and you can process it and work through it. So that's why they guided me to do this. But just be aware you are not alone. Like, you're not crazy. Like, it's normal and it's okay to have these feelings. People who don't go through traumatic childhoods, I have a lot of people who say that I didn't have trauma, I didn't have different things like that, but your feelings being ignored, or being given everything, and not having boundaries, and not being protected or stuck up for, and things like that, that also is a trauma. And I did post that, I forgot who had posted the original post about the trauma, but I did post it, I want to say like a week or two ago. I'm like horrible with time frames. I think like a week or two ago. So if you scroll on my Instagram or my Facebook, it's on both of them. But it's really important for us to actually be aware that trauma is not just, physical abuse. Trauma is not just, I feel like most people focus on physical things and they don't really focus on the emotional aspect as much. And the thing is, we can actually heal a lot of our body issues. We can heal a lot of our mental health issues. We can heal a lot of these things if we would deal with our trauma, if we would accept it, if we would face it, if we would allow it to come up. And the biggest thing I've noticed, especially in this field and doing, psychic readings with people, is people don't want to accept their emotional issues, their baggage, their trauma, their feelings. And so people who don't cry, or people who try to ignore their feelings constantly, a lot of times they have medical issues. And the reason is because that energy literally gets stored in your body and you're not releasing it. So it's really important to do things to take care of yourself. And I do say this, and I don't take this lightly or dismissing anybody who does have mental health issues, but a lot of times they are trauma related. And if you actually heal the trauma, you will feel better and it will be healed, and you won't have all of these feelings. And the other thing I want to say, because we need to normalize this, is you don't always need to feel happy. It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to feel depressed. It is okay to feel anxious, paranoid. Any of your feelings are valid and they are okay. And we live in this society where it's normal to want to be happy and to strive to be happy. And my feeling is, why are we not striving for freedom? Why are we not striving for peace? Because really that's what we should be striving for, is to feel this sense of freedom, to feel liberated, to do whatever we want without holding ourselves back, without feeling held back, and feeling a centeredness and peace. When we're striving for happiness, that tells us that our sadness is not normal, that our anxiety is not normal, that all of these other emotions and feelings are not normal, and they're fucking 100% normal. Every single one of those feelings is 100% normal, and there is not one person you will ever meet that is 100% happy. I'm a pretty optimistic person. Like, I get happy over the smallest things, and that's because I've been through a lot, and so I appreciate things. Like, if you've ever been on the phone with me, or you've ever seen me and I'm like looking outside, I see a butterfly or like a bird, I'm like, oh my God. And I get so excited, and little things excite me, but I have sadness. I go through periods of depression. I go through periods where I feel lonely. I go through periods where I feel anxious, where I feel different things. And a lot of times this is spirit guiding us to release traumas from this life and past lives. So these are all normal things that happen to us. And part of society's conditioning is to keep us in a low vibration. It's to break us out of this cycle and this loop. And the only way to do that is to change our perception. And part of that is realizing that all of our feelings are valid and normal. So I hope this helps anybody who's struggling. Please always reach out to somebody if you are going through stuff, if you are having any type of suicidal thoughts or feelings, if you're ever in a really dark place and you need help. There are people who care about you. You are not a burden. It is not a problem. People genuinely care. People want to help people. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to sign off. One of my best friends is super introverted. She doesn't like talking to people that much. She's worse than me, introvertedness. And so we were out one day and she could just sense somebody was really upset. Just this random girl. She wasn't crying or anything. She could just sense it. And she actually went to go walk up to her to ask her if she was okay. And so that's the thing is people who will go outside of their comfort zone, who don't even know you, who are complete strangers to make sure you're okay, because there are people who genuinely care. So I really, really hope this reaches whoever needs it. Feel free to share it if you know somebody who's struggling or goes through these feelings or thoughts. If you have your own issues and I don't like that word, but I say it because you know what I'm talking about, and you want to comment and openly share them and be vulnerable, like that's great too. I think the biggest thing is actually opening up to people, talking about these things, being vulnerable and not being shamed or feeling guilty or feeling bad for having these feelings and these thoughts, okay? Like we are okay the way we are. And yeah, of course, always want to grow. We always want to come to a place of centeredness and peace and love within ourselves. But it's okay to not be there too. It's okay. And it's okay to be there and go back and forth. That's normal too. Like everything that you go through is valid, is normal. So start validating yourself and start realizing that what you're feeling and what you're going through is normal and it's okay. And be okay with who you are and nurture and love yourself. And this is the biggest thing I always say is when you're going through things like this, be patient. And I give this example. How would you treat a friend going through this? If your friend said to you what you're going through, what would you do? How would you treat them? Or if it was a child, what would you say to them? How would you treat them? And then look at how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself in that situation. And then change the way you treat yourself and talk to yourself, because a lot of us talk to ourselves the way our parents talk to us, the way our partners talk to us, and the way toxic, abusive people talk to us. So I hope this helps, and I hope you guys all have an amazing night. Love and light to you guys.